My brothers don't die, we just rusty bark. I tell your girl to link me at the coffee shop. Getting freaky in the sheets, we're taking body shots. Then I finish with a facial just to top it off. Hey, you ain't got a clue, let's be honest. I put in the work and take the profit. Looking at my girl, that what goddess.
This one, we earlier diagnosed it as low oil pressure inside the engine. So we pulled the oil filter out to check for metal shavings inside to see if it was maybe metallic wear from the bearings or the journals on the cylinder head. The oil filter came back clean, surprisingly, but the oil was really gunky. It was really dark and black. The owner says that he changed the oil around 3,000 miles ago, so not too long ago. Another thing we found was the oil level was at max. It's pretty rare to see a Mclaren with max oil level because they all use a little bit of oil. And we were finding that the oil and the coolant were overheating at idle. We pulled the oil and surprise, surprise, we found coolant inside the oil. It wasn't a coffee mix. It had separated inside the sump, so there was coolant and then oil coming out. We pressurized the oil cooler. On the McLarens, it can only leak into the oil in a couple of different places. You've got your sleeves, if one of the rubber O-rings around the sleeve has failed. If it's a 3.8, the aluminium liners sometimes fail. Very rare, but it does happen. On the 3.8s, the cylinder heads also sometimes crack. Another thing that can happen is if the charge cooler starts leaking coolant as well, you end up with a pinhole inside the charge cooler and it leaks coolant into the intake manifold. But in that case, you would only get smoke. You wouldn't get coolant into the oil. The head gaskets can leak. We've never had a case where a turbocharger has failed and leaking coolant into the oil. So on this, we pressurized it and inspected the oil cooler. Oil cooler came back okay. No signs of the oil cooler leaking. We are now removing the engine because we suspect the head gaskets. We'll see what's going on there and try and pinpoint where the leak's coming from. I'm leaning towards a head gasket because McLaren did switch from a double layer to a triple layer head gasket. McLaren do these things because they know in the background that these things are happening to these cars, so they try and avoid it. So yeah, I have a hunch that it's the head gasket, but we'll drop the engine out and see what's going on. Unfortunately, there's no better way to diagnose if it's the head gasket or if it's the sleeve without the engine coming out, because the coolant is getting into the oil, and with a sealed engine, you have to crack it open to see what's going on.
Don't fuck with her. Yeah, I used to hit it, but you're stuck with her. Man, I wouldn't even try my luck with her. Yeah, let's say I'm bougie. Way too expensive.
This is rolled into the shop for a pre-purchase inspection. Beautiful McLaren 570S with the GT4 livery on it. So it's an MSO car. But yeah, we'll just be going through it. The client wants to buy it. He wants to get it checked out, make sure, you know, it's a good car. So we'll go through it in detail, give him a report, tell him if it's good, you know, do the diagnostic scans, do the visual checks, and yeah, just effectively being able to give the client confidence in the car before he buys it.
My brothers don't die, we just Vossi bought. So much Vossi, I might open up a Vossi shop. Mommy saying that I need to get some sleep. All this flying overseas is always fucking up my body clock.
This is the engine out of the car that was mixing coolant with oil. Haven't stripped it down completely yet. We're gonna get the heads off today, but something we've noticed, there's coolant trickling down on cylinder 2 from the intake side, but it looks like it's trickling down the injector ports, which is really strange. And if you look on the exhaust side, it's apparent that it is going through cylinder 2, because cylinder 2 has a bit of crystallization and it's a lot cleaner than all of the other cylinders. So I wonder what's causing that. We had this car come in for accumulators, so we've done the accumulators as part of work we do on any car. We do a full inspection. That's a full electronic diagnosis using MDS, and we also do physical inspection. So under trays off, we're looking for leaks, we're looking for, you know, things that aren't quite right. We found a couple of things on this car, pretty critical actually. If I take my flashlight and you check this out. Okay, so this is the turbo inlet pipe, right? Now, the turbo inlet pipe pulls air into the engine through the air filter. So if you have a gap here, you have unfiltered and unmetered air going directly into the turbocharger, through the intercooler and into the engine. This is something that you definitely don't want. And you can actually even see that the baffle that's usually inside these turbo inlets is collapsed. You see it there? Slapping around in there. So yeah, that would have gotten sucked into the turbo at some point if the inlet hadn't collapsed altogether. The solution for this is to upgrade the turbo inlets. So we have our own turbo inlets. We upgrade them with complete silicon air inlets, which are just substantially, well, there's nothing in the silicon air inlet to fail, right? It's just silicon. The reason why they're designed like this from the factory is that the baffle inside is designed to reduce the air intake noises. Obviously, when McLaren are designing a road car, it needs to please a lot of people. So they choose not to have any intake air noises. So that's why the baffle exists in the first place. I'm going to quickly show you guys our inlet pipes. Right, we've slowly started organising our parts room, but I still don't know where anything is. These are our turbo air inlet pipes. So you see, this side connects to the turbocharger. This side connects to the PCV system, the positive crankcase ventilation system, and this connects to the intake tube. So, and then on the other side of the intake tube, you have the air filter itself. So air filter, intake tube, turbo inlet, and the turbocharger here. So yeah, as you can see, it's just a single one-piece silicon design. Super common failure point on the 720s. We'll pull the damaged one off and we'll show you guys in detail, so you can understand what's actually different. These not only flow more, they have no failing components in them. So yeah, we'll be popping these on, no doubt, and it's already tuned too. It's got a downpipe on it, it's got an exhaust on it. It's new to the owner, so the owner doesn't really know what's on it.
So here I have stock McLaren turbo inlets. These tend to fail quite a lot due to, first, the engine mounts fail, and once the engine mounts fail, they have a lot of play, and then these just get a lot of twist, and then eventually they start to break off. Another point of failure is the baffle. This is quite dangerous because it comes loose and then it can fall into the turbo, and then the turbine will start to wear away at the baffle, which is not good for the turbine. We upgrade the turbo inlets to our own turbo inlets, the silicone ones. These flow more, these are a lot more durable as they're silicone. Any engine movement won't affect the inlet, and they're a lot better for heat soak as well. And obviously these have no points of failure, there's no baffles, they're silicone, so they flex, and it comes in one piece, so it's just plug and play, that's it, there's nothing else to it.
Alright, the guys have pulled the heads off this engine now. So on cylinder 2, we could see there was coolant stains on the intake valve side, and on the exhaust side there was a bit of crystallization, clearly indicating that coolant is burning inside cylinder 2. So we popped the cylinder head off, and you can see it's very evident now. You've got cylinder 2 is very shiny if you look at the piston top compared to 1, 3 and 4. That effectively tells us that cylinder 2 has been getting steam cleaned. And if you look at the head gasket on cylinder 2 as well, you can see that coolant has been trickling in and the head hasn't been sealing with the head gasket very well. It could have been a case of, the car has run out of coolant at some point in its life, and things have been really, really hot. And it's warped the head, so we're gonna get the heads checked out. We'll get the block surfaces checked out as well to see if they're straight. But it's not a normal failure on a McLaren, the head gasket failure. It's not something we've seen before. The heads and the head gaskets on the 4 litres are pretty robust. The 3.8 litres, when pushed, they will crack, but on the 4 litres, they've got the extra cooling holes in them. It's not something that we generally see. This is a really rare thing to see on a 4 litre. Anyway, we're gonna get the heads checked out. We'll strip the rest of the engine down. We'll check all the bearings, make sure, because of the oil pressure, there's no bearing wear. I don't think there will be, because we caught it really early and the owner didn't drive the car when it started idling funny. And we'll just build it back up, stick a new set of head gaskets in it. Nice and simple. As expected, it was a leak inside the head gasket of the car.
I just wanna stay in the sun where I find, I know it's hard sometimes, pieces of peace in the sun.
so some nice numbers on this one. We've now retuned it. It's still on some random exhaust. We want to change the tips so they're sitting a little bit better, and with what's on it at the moment, we can't. So we'll be pulling this exhaust off in over the next few weeks. We're just waiting on the exhaust to arrive, putting our downpipes on it because it's got sports cats on there, so the owner wants some flames. And yeah, other than that, nice healthy car, now being retuned, makes some really good numbers. So stock, it made 705 horsepower, 529 foot-pounds, and tuned, it made really, really good power. We run them all, if it's a stock engine, we run them at 16.5 degrees of ignition, 0.79 lambda, and 1.6 bar of boost. These are the settings we go for in a stock engine, because we know it's something that's safe, reliable, and it can make up to 840 wheel on a nice healthy car. We don't push any more ignition than that, any more boost, or run them any leaner, just because we know this is the setup that they're healthy at. Nice healthy car, man. Joel will really enjoy this. But yeah, it's going to be coming back in for a little bit more work. We'll be installing CarPlay on this as well, so I don't think I've showed that off to you guys yet. The CarPlay modules on these are sick. Like, it was one of the things that McLarens were missing, a CarPlay module, so we'll be installing that. One of the suspension sensors needs replaced on this as well. We're waiting on the parts arriving from the UK. Other than that, car's sweet, good to go, and you can get back to getting some track days on it. If you see the car out and about in Dubai, take a picture and tag us. This will be at all the events and whatnot. Nice numbers on this. This will be a good car.
I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my ride.